Hello. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. Last week I spoke about, basically the truth behind osteoarthritis and what osteoarthritis really is. And, dispelled some of those old myths from like 20 years ago, the wear and tear myth that it's just cartilage just mechanically wearing away, which it is not. And talked more about how, the environment within our body affects our joints at the cellular level, which is what leads to the breakdown of cartilage. Enzymes that our cartilage cells produce is what breaks down cartilage. And then I went on and I mentioned, how it takes a holistic approach to, really completely manage osteoarthritis. You need to take a complete whole body approach. And I mentioned that in my next video, I would be talking about the osteoarthritis complexity model. So that is what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm going to pull it up and then I'm going to go through the whole model and, try to explain in the shortest amount of time possible what's going on with the model. So I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to be pulling it up on I have two computer screens here, and I'm going to turn off my camera here because I'm a little self-conscious about everyone staring at the side of my head. So just give me a second to do that. Okay, so here we have our osteoarthritis complexity model, and it is complex. It is the complexity model. It is based on a biopsychosocial model, and, not just goes beyond osteoarthritis, but, people in the medical field, the scientists who look at these chronic conditions like osteoarthritis, they're starting to realize that, they're more than just physical, biological things that affect these chronic conditions. We're starting to realize just how much, behavioral factors, so lifestyle choices, how much that they affect chronic conditions, mostly by affecting inflammation, because inflammation is a driver for many chronic conditions. But, but also how the mind body affects chronic conditions. So, it's funny is that way back, before modern medicine, more traditional practices really did honor the connection between the mind and the body. And then, medicine kind of got away from that and separated the body from the mind. But we're starting to come back to where we realize that the mind really does play a big part on the health of the body and the physical symptoms that we feel. I've done a lot of, looking into this, a lot of research, a lot of reading. I'm reading something right now. It's very interesting about how, how culture affects, disease and healing. But, that's something from another video. Okay. So there's three things. Well, first at the center, we have osteoarthritis, but not just the osteoarthritis, it's how we experience osteoarthritis. So most people think, osteoarthritis is, we look at an x-ray and it's like, okay, you have osteoarthritis. And it's that image on that x-ray or the MRI is the osteoarthritis. But really osteoarthritis is how it is experienced. And what this means, and I mentioned this in the last video that I just, that I did last week, is that, medical imaging results do not correlate with the symptoms that someone is going to have. Someone can have, just a terrible looking x-ray and not have any symptoms or have very minimal symptoms. And at the same time, someone can have minimal cartilage loss. These are the people that, they're told that they're not bad enough to do anything. They're not even given pain pills because their x-rays don't look bad. But at the same time, though, how they experience osteoarthritis is pretty bad. So that there is no correlation there. Osteoarthritis is how it is experienced, and it's experienced by how much pain someone has, the symptoms that someone is having, and then a part of that experience is also how osteoarthritis progresses. And the things that are surrounding this here are the three, main categories of things that can affect that. So, biological factors are, the physical factors that affect osteoarthritis, like, the changes that happen in the joint. Inflammation is that biological factor. And, inflammation really is, it's just chemicals that our body's putting out, and can kind of make things go, a little crazy in the body. Inflammation can affect pain perception, which is also in this list, but also, anatomy. So how one's anatomy is, if they have any malalignments or misalignments, if they're walking wrong or sitting wrong, like all that. And then pain perception. So everyone perceives pain differently. So that is also a big factor. And then there's also things like muscle tension. So muscle tension that will increase pain. It will also, cause our joints to come out of alignment, and then poor muscle support. So I mentioned the, how people can have this, basically could have, the same x-ray and have a totally different experience. There's a study that showed that, how strong your thigh muscles are. This is for knee osteoarthritis, is how strong your muscles are is more likely to predict how much pain someone has than how their x-ray looks. All right, so that's biological factors. So those are the physical factors that, and those, do have to be addressed if you want to improve osteoarthritis. And then next, we have the behavioral factors. And a lot of these behavioral factors affect our biological factors, and they also affect our mind-body factors. So all these factors affect each other. Everything is intertwined. So behavioral factors are, having a sedentary lifestyle, avoiding exercise, which is very understandable when one has osteoarthritis, because we still have this outdated wear and tear theory in our mind, thinking that, more movement, more exercise is going to make it worse. But that is not the case. Exercise does need to be approached in the right way, but exercise alone is not going to make your osteoarthritis worse. And then inflammatory diet choices. So that is a big part. Greatly affects the rest of the body. So, these choices that we make, what we put in our mouth, the food that we eat, greatly affects our biology. So that's a very important part. And then, poor sleep, that also affects our biology. It affects our mind body. And then things like overextending and not taking the time to care for ourselves. So caring for other people more than we care about ourselves. When you have something like osteoarthritis, you do have to learn to prioritize your health. So that's another thing for a whole other video. And then we have these mind-body factors, and these are very important. So things like mood, emotional dysregulation, catastrophizing, helplessness, stress, this self-denial. So, trying to make other people happy, trying to please other people, being driven by, wanting to be accepted rather than our true, authentic wants and needs, and honoring our values. And then repression. So repression is, like if you have repressed grief or repressed trauma, this can lead to being in a state of fight or flight. And this can really affect our biology. A lot of these things, especially with this inflammation. It's one thing that they're really starting to realize is just how much of what goes on in our mind body, how much that affects how much inflammation that we have in our body. So, again, I'm trying to keep these videos short so that you get through the whole thing. So I will be going over all of these things in more detail in future videos. So look for that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to break it down yet, but, be on the lookout for that. All right, I'm back. So what I'm trying to get across here is that when we're looking at managing our osteoarthritis, we just don't want to look at joints as like just an isolated entity, or we don't want to be looking at single solutions to joint pain and other osteoarthritis symptoms. What we want to do is to look at the whole body and also look at how the mind can affect our osteoarthritis symptoms. We cannot isolate our joints from the rest of the body and treat them as separate entities and expect them to get better. So I really think this is where, medicine has gone wrong. They try to isolate these different parts and don't, ignore that they're in a whole other body that, or whole body, not another body, a single body that can really affect what's going on in that joint. Now, there are a lot of good medical treatments out there, but even with them, they're going to work better when they are used along with a holistic approach that considers all of those factors in that model. And that model is by far not complete. I'm sure there's things that we haven't even been, touched yet or considered yet that can affect osteoarthritis. So stay tuned for more information. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like to let me know that you watched it, or let me know what you think by leaving a comment below. I'm hoping to get another video out this week. So this is all for Osteoarthritis Month. Until then, keep thriving in your journey with osteoarthritis, and remember that every step forward is a step towards a healthier, more joyful life. Until then, stay positive and stay empowered.